Welcome to the first Move with Ace video session. In today's session, I'm going to take you through the warm-up or the exercise preparation portion of the at-home workouts that we provided on our blog. If you haven't got the workouts or checked out the blog, you can see it in the description below, or you can check it out on our Instagram page. So today's session, you can also do it independently of workouts if you just want to do a little core mobility session at home. Since a lot of people are working from home right now, it might be a good option to just put in some physical activity into your day. So the first two exercises we're going to do are two core exercises. We're looking at positioning the rib cage and the pelvis in a nice alignment, set a good foundation for movement. So the first thing we've got is our 90-90 hamstring bridge, and the second one is our front plank. So we're looking at targeting the pelvis and the rib cage. So for the first exercise, the 90-90 hamstring bridge, you're going to need a table or a chair, and I'm going to have you lay on the floor with your feet on top of the chair or table. So the first thing we're going to do to execute this exercise is we're going to press our heels down into the table. I don't want you to lift your butt off the floor. I just want you to press into the table and feel the back of your legs, the hamstrings kind of turn on. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to try to take the hips and we're going to pretend we've got a tail and tuck it between our legs. So as we rotate and tuck our tail between the legs, we're going to slowly peel the butt off the floor without bridging up. Now that we've got the tail tucked and the heels pressing, I want you to try to pull the heels towards you like you're trying to pull the table in with your feet. Once you've got all three of those things, we're going to reach the knees about an inch up, keeping the back completely on the floor and trying to tuck the tail a little bit more. So that's the setup for your 90-90 hamstring bridge. When we do it in the workout, we're going to hold it for 30 seconds or 5 deep breaths. So the second exercise is our heel press front plank. For the heel press front plank, we just need to have a fixed surface or a wall so we can put our feet up against it. So we're going to set up with our feet touching the wall and in a kneeling front plank. Okay? So we've got both arms parallel and separated from one another, so we're not making a triangle here. We've got hands apart and feet touching the wall. I want you to press your heels back into the wall and tuck your tail just like you did in that 90-90. From there, we're going to press the floor away with the arms. Once we've got our tail tuck and the floor pressed, we're going to slowly lift the knees off the floor. They don't have to be fully straightened out, but then we're just going to hold that position for our plank. So the second set that we're going to cover is a progression of our 90-90 bridge and our front plank. So we're making it a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more specific to gait or walking and running. So both of these exercises can also be used as a nice little warm-up muscle activation before you go out for a run or hit the treadmill. So for the 90-90 bridge with the march, we're going to set it up the same way you set up the first 90-90. Okay? So feet up on the table again. We're going to go through the same three things. We're going to press the heels down and get some pressure behind the legs. We're going to tuck the tail between the legs. We're going to lift the knees a little bit, and we're going to pull with the heels to pull the bench towards us. From that position, we're going to slowly transition all of our weight onto the left leg as we march the right leg off the table or chair, and then we're going to switch. We're going to put all the weight on the right leg, and we're going to slowly march the left off. We're trying to be really cautious of not letting the hips wiggle around as we march one leg off and back on. Okay, so here we're challenging that hip stability. We're getting a little bit more glute medius involved. For the second exercise in the second set, we're doing a lazy bear mountain climber. So we're going to progress our front plank. We're going to start off in the same position, but this time we're going to have the arms straight. Once we get into that kneeling plank, we're going to press the floor away again, and we're going to lift the knees up just a little bit lower this time. Okay, so we're making sure we've got bent knees, we've got the floor pressed away, and just like we did in our march for the 90-90, we're going to slowly alternate bringing one leg off the wall. As you march up, really thinking about pushing back into the wall with the other leg. Okay, so that's our second set. For the third set, we're going to transition. We're going to do a little bit more upper body stuff. We're going to make sure the shoulder blades are moving nicely and then warm up the shoulders and elbows So for the first exercise, we're going to do a wall slide. If you've got a foam roller, great. If you don't, I'll show you a variation called the wall crawl afterwards. So with your foam roller, you're going to put it on the wall at about your nose height. We're going to take the edges of the hand and put them on the foam roller. We want the elbows in tight to the body and not sticking out to the side. Okay? And then we're going to just be standing tall. I want you to have your shoulder, ear, and your hip all in a nice alignment. So once you get that position, we're still standing tall, and we're just going to tuck the tail a little bit like we did in all the other exercises. And then from there, we're going to breathe in, pushing the roller up the wall, reaching forward and out, bringing it down. Again, trying to keep the elbows underneath us, and down. Trying to press into the wall a little bit. So that's the wall slide. The wall crawl is very similar. You're going to start in the same position, but with the forearms on the wall. Okay, so from there we've got our tail tucked again, and we're going to breathe in and crawl up the wall. So breathing in, breathing in, okay, so that's the wall slide and the wall crawl. Right after that, we're going to go back into our plank position with the feet on the wall for our yoga push-up. So if you set it up, you can start with your knees on the floor, arms are straight again, just like we had for the lazy bear. We're going to come into our plank. We're keeping the heels flat on the wall as we breathe in and come down into our push-up. Exhale as you press up all the way. Breathe in again, and we're going into a downward dog, and then we're coming back to the plank. So that's the third set. Okay, so now you know all the exercises. We're just going to run through everything from the top in the fashion that you would in your session or your workout. So remember, we've got 6 exercises. We've got 3 paired sets. For the A and the B and the C, we've got 1 and 2. We're going to run through exercise 1 and then 2 without breaking, and then we're going to repeat them. If you want, you can take a break after doing 1, 2, and then go back to 1, 2, and then move on. In the workouts that are attached to the blog, you're going to be doing 3 rounds of these. We're going to go through one time through the whole thing, but on your own, ideally you're doing at least 2 rounds, 3 rounds if you're doing the workouts. Okay? So first exercise we're going to do is our 90-90 hamstring bridge. We're going to try to do 5 deep breaths or about 30 seconds for that exercise. Then we're going to move right into the plank. So we're going to set it up just like we reviewed earlier. We're going to try to press the heels down, get some tension in those hamstrings. Then we're going to set the tail tuck, and we're going to get more tension in those hamstrings. We're going to pull the heels towards us, and then we're going to start our breathing or our timer. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. In this position, if you want, you can reach for the ceiling. With each exhale, I want you to try to push the heels harder and tug them towards you more. Feel those hamstrings. We'll do one more deep breath. Okay, so that's the 90-90 hamstring bridge. We move right into our front plank. We get our feet against the wall. We're in the kneeling position. Hands are parallel. We're going to tuck our tail, peel the heels off the wall, off the floor, pressing the heels into the wall, pressing the floor away, and we're going to hold for 30 seconds. Just like you did for that 90-90 bridge, we're going to breathe deep. With each exhale, I want you to try to push yourself up away from the floor. And try to tuck your tail a little bit more. Keeping pressing away from the floor. After about 30 seconds or 5 deep breaths, we'll take a break, and then you're going to repeat. As we move into B now, we're going to go back to our 90-90 bridge. We're going to set up the exact same way. You can reach again, or you can put your hands on the floor for extra balance. We're going to start by pressing the heels down, tucking the tail and peeling the butt off the floor. Lift about an inch, And then we're slowly going to alternate from side to side, taking one foot off the step. One off. Other one. Just like we talked about before, I want you to make sure you're pressing hard into the table with the foot that stays on as you transition from side to side. Emphasizing keeping the butt flat, hips aren't moving. Make sure you're breathing. The foot that's staying on the table is also pulling towards you. Want to feel the hamstrings, keep the hips up. Maybe feel a little bit of glute to prevent the hips from wobbling. We're doing 10 reps here on each foot. And then we're going to move to the next exercise. Once you finish, both feet down, hips down, and we move back to the wall. This time, we're setting up similar to our plank, but we're going to do that lazy bear mountain climber. So arms are straight, press the floor away, lift the knees off the floor and heels onto the wall. And then just like we did for the marching, we're going to alternate, taking one leg off. As you take one leg off, I want the other leg pressing back into the wall nice and hard. And we're alternating that march, keeping the floor pressed away, taking deep breaths. And again, just like the 90-90 march, we're doing 10 reps per side here. Keeping yourself pressed away from the floor. Press the heel into the wall. Okay, so that's our B set. Now we're going to move on to our C set, which is our wall slide or wall crawl if you've got the foam roller, and our yoga push-up. So again, we're going to set the foam roller at nose height, edges of the hand on the foam roller, standing tall, ear, shoulder, hips stacked. We're going to start with the tail tuck, staying tall, and we're going to breathe in as we roll up, and out as you come down. Again, we want to keep the elbows in. And we're going to do 10 reps here as well. Being careful to keep that tail tucked as you roll up, not letting your position change. And the elbows in, not flaring out. Okay, so that's the wall slide. If you don't have a roller, no problem, do the wall crawl. Right after that, we're down into the plank position with the feet on the wall again. This time we're doing our yoga push-up. Okay, so take your time with this one. As you go through, we're keeping the heels on the wall and we're breathing in as we go down, out as you come up, in as you go up, out as you come back down. Keeping the heels on the wall the whole way. Okay, and as we do that one for the warm-up, we're only doing 5 reps. Again, we're going to repeat each of those sets 3 times before moving on to the next one. Thanks for joining us for the first Move with Ace. We've got more to come. Check out our blog, check us on Instagram or Facebook, or email us at info@acesportsclinic.com for more information.